So Hollywood can now copyright AI, but not necessarily what it generates. This is very confusing. The United States Copyright Office just released a 41-page description of how to copyright artificial intelligence. And this is like a big deal for Hollywood. Like, out of most of the industries, I feel like Hollywood and filmmaking and honestly artists have been hyper focusing in on what artificial intelligence can do / how do we make money from this, or how do we save money from this, right? And so now that it's officially been released, January last month of this year, it's made clear, not so clear. I would say it's made an effort. It's made an effort for sure to define how they can copyright artificial intelligence, because up to this point, it's just been millions and millions of question marks. And I'm going to be honest with you all, I haven't read this, partially because my reading comprehension sucks. But the other part is because I don't understand it. Like, there's a few parts in here that I understand, but I don't fully get it. However, there's a really helpful X post that Charlie Wagner posted that kind of sums it up. Your prompts equals copyrightable. Your edits is copyrightable. Your edits plus AI output is indeed copyrightable. What is not copyrightable is unedited AI output, or your prompts plus unedited AI output. So when I read this, I still have a few questions, but the implications are the biggest thing. Your prompts are copyrightable. Let's start there. So you can craft a specific prompt to generate something, whether it's video or an image, and someone can copyright like an idea. Isn't in a way that's kind of like copywriting code for a computer? I'm curious, is code for computers able to be copywritten? I've never looked that up. Can you copyright computer code? Google says yes, apparently. Yes, you can copyright computer code. Copyright protects computer programs as literary works. The protection prevents others from copying or using the code without permission. But what's confusing to me is this idea of prompts, because prompts are just sentences. Like, prompts are just, this gets really confusing because we're dealing with artificial intelligent prompting. So if you are going to prompt a AI to do something, are you going to say, create a video that is 30 seconds long, that is a magician wearing a top hat. He takes the top hat off of his head, pulls a bunny out. Also, there's a skull and crossbones on the top hat. I don't know. There's a super simple, dumb idea of a very rudimentary prompt. It's a starting place, but like, can you do the exact same thing if you just remove or replace a few descriptor words? There's a lot of ways to get around your prompt. Like, how far out can you copyright a prompt? That leaves a lot of questions. All right, so your edits are copyrightable. So this also seems a little bit more straightforward, but the question is, I still have a lot of questions. If I take a video, like I prompt a specific video clip, throw it into Premiere, and I adjust the color and contrast on that clip, is that considered an edit? Because it looks the same, you just shifted the contrast and color a little bit. Is that now considered a complete thing that I can copyright? Maybe it's getting that specific. Is that considered editing enough to be able to be copywritten? Your edits plus AI output. That's kind of like what I just said. If I get something and I make an edit to it. Now, a lot of the examples are being used in Hollywood, or at least image generation. Like, we want to use AI to de-age somebody, right? You're going to film an actor in a few shots and we want them to look 10 years younger. So we want to de-age the person using AI. This actually might come in handy if they can get Viggo Mortensen on the new Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, to play Aragorn again. His biggest concern is that he looks too old to play Aragorn again. Well, now that they can copyright AI and do it relatively simply, where they can just look at the image and be like, okay, make you a little younger, then you could probably get him on board if that's the case now. But I guess the question is, how much AI should we use? Because the question of copyright's still up in the air. Now it's not. In theory, it's still kind of up in the air. Unedited AI output is not copyrightable. So just you prompt something and it gives you something. You can't copyright that flat thing outright that it's giving you, which is actually kind of a lot more easy to understand, and actually in some ways good news, because you're not going to have people just like taking someone else's generated art. It's not even generated artificial art and putting copyrights on it and then like claiming a bunch of videos or claiming a bunch of, art that was put up on YouTube, for example. Like, you could start claiming people's videos if you're not careful. So that's something to also be aware of. And then your prompts plus unedited AI output. So basically, like, you can copyright your prompts, but you can't copyright your prompts plus unedited AI output. This is all very confusing to me. It's a helpful breakdown to understand the concept. And I feel like I would probably still be just as confused if I read the whole legal document, because I tried. It's very difficult. The comment on this post says, still not quite sure how they know the difference between edited and unedited. I guess that'll be worked out by the courts over the next couple years. So go back to my like adjusting color and contrast example. Would you actually bring that to court? If you tried to copyright something and then you got the copyright for it, and then someone says, like, for some example, would say like, okay, that is not enough editing of the original generation to be considered yours and that you can copyright, and then that goes to court and then people are arguing over color and contrast. It's such a weird kind of messy thing. But what's interesting about all this is that it's the beginning. We're still at the beginning of AI. And so all of this is happening in real time. The legal systems are literally trying to decode this problem. And I wouldn't say it's super clear still, but at least it's a first step in that direction. And I know that Hollywood has been just itching to start using AI in some capacity and have some sort of legal standing that upholds the work that is going to be produced, because they want to make money with this tool. They want to use AI to make as much money as possible and to make their lives a lot easier. And yes, to pay a lot of people less money, or to not have to just pay people at all, right? Just have a fewer staff and let the AI do the majority of the work that used to take, 10 people to do. So I would be willing to bet that now that the system is in place, there's going to be tons of legal people that are scouring, all of the details of this brief, and they're going to start fitting into the cracks of where Hollywood can start using AI to make their films. So if you thought that AI was just, holding up progress because of the strikes, well, on some level, that's true, but the strike agreements have an end date, which means as soon as that end date comes, and now that the legal system is sort of in place for copywriting material, all bets are off. Like, Hollywood doesn't have to work with anybody. They can strike all day long and they can just be like, good, we didn't want you here anyway. Like, we don't want to pay you anything. Your union is useless. So I don't know. The future of filmmaking is getting wilder, but it's not anything that our imagination hasn't already taken us to. It's just interesting to see humans kind of like trudge through the muck of uncertainty or trying to make sense of a very complex situation. I feel like anybody on the internet, I already kind of threw mine out there, but I feel like everybody on the internet who has even the slightest inclination of what AI is would probably be able to poke holes into this, copyright office's brief of what is going to be able to be copywritten and what isn't. So I don't know, maybe lawyers are going to have a huge payday with this. It's very probable. This is what I would say, at least until things start to become extremely more clear, right? I would say use what AI gives you, like especially if you're like a YouTuber, for example, and you're like, I just need some B-roll. As more and more video options for generating video becomes more acceptable and more easily to access for the public and for creators, start to use that technology and just take it at face value and put it in videos and put it out there. And it won't be copywritten. It's literally something that doesn't have any copyright attached to it. So you can still grow your following. You can still do creative projects. But I personally, especially for indie filmmakers, I would say we need to see this get worked out a little bit by the people who are smarter than us, or the people who are spending the majority of money and legal fees to figure out these issues. And I think in time, it will become more clear, and indie filmmakers and indie creators will be able to utilize AI in an actual, legal way where they can copyright their own work, and that it makes sense for them to utilize it appropriately. But I'm curious, have you guys taken a look at this document? Does it make sense to you? What is your initial thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on this matter, especially around the world of filmmaking. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, I talk about the future of filmmaking constantly here on this channel. And so if you're a filmmaker or if you're a film enthusiast and you like creative entertainment, storytelling, you like the process, you want to learn, you want to hang out, subscribe to the channel and like this video, and I will see you next time.